Yesterday, Donald Trump sat in the Oval Office and he rambled and he ranted about the supposed historic trade deal with the United Kingdom. We learned that, if we're honest, it's not really historic and it's not really a trade deal and it's not really done. And Trump admitted he doesn't even know if all aspects of it are legal. And so there was a Scottish reporter in the Oval Office, in the heart of the White House, who called it out to Trump's face. And I think this is absolutely fantastic to see. The reporter does it beautifully. Trump, of course, opens with vague nonsense, as he always does. But the reporter had the testicular fortitude to say, aren't you overselling this? Aren't you overstating the reach and the significance of this deal because things are difficult right now and you need to contrive a victory? This is now my words. You need to contrive a victory because you desperately need it. Good job here. Take a listen to this.
James Matthews from Sky News.
Yes.
Can I ask, why Britain and why now? And you've described this deal as a full and comprehensive deal, and yet we've just heard from Mr. Mandelson it's the end of the beginning. Clearly, there's much more work still to do.
Yeah.
With respect, are you overstating the reach and significance of this deal because you're a president who needs a result at a difficult time?
Brilliant question. And the answer is yes. But now let's hear Trump's answer.
I think that it's a great deal for both parties. It's for us. We're opened up. I didn't know how closed it was. Quite closed, the market, as you know, the UK. And it opens up a tremendous market for us. And it works out very well, very well. And a lot of assets. You see the chart, and those are tremendous assets. But we've
Hand me a Sharpie. I'll make the chart look even better.
been trying, and when you say why us, meaning your country, we've been trying for years, and they've been trying for years to make a deal.
Now, I'm sorry to interrupt once more. This question was so on point that it sends Trump into a 3-minute word salad of no meaning at all. That's how to the heart of the matter the question got.
Including when I was in the, first term. It would always be people talking, but they weren't getting it done. But for 25 years before that, they were trying always to make a deal, a very significant deal. I actually, until I looked at the numbers, I didn't realize this is a very conclusive deal, but we think we can grow it even from that. But this is a maxed out deal, not like you said it. You said it really incorrectly.
You said it nasty.
This is a maxed out deal that we're going to make bigger, and we make it bigger through growth. But we have tremendous assets involved. I was surprised to see how big your country is in trade, actually. One of the biggest in technology. And
yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to subject you to the remaining 90 seconds of this drivel. A couple things that I love about this. First of all, again, the question's so spot on that it sends Trump into a 3-minute word salad. Number two, the reality is that Trump's bragging about a deal that's not a deal, that he said they don't even yet know if all of the parts of it are legal, that they don't even yet have all of the details. They're still working out the details. And at the end of the day, this entire tariff fiasco is not really about the United Kingdom. The UK is the US's 11th larger trading partner. It represents 3% of US trade. 3%. If I, take off my shoes and start counting this little piggy, that little piggy, I'd still have 97% of American trade not covered by this deal after I count on my fingers and toes the significance of what the trade with the UK is. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't matter, but it's not statistically significant, and it's also not really a deal. It's the concept of a framework. We're back once again to concepts of a plan, and most of what is part of this framework are things that existed under Joe Biden already. We would just be restating and taking a step back to where we were on trade with the UK under Biden. The numbers haven't changed. The tariffs haven't moved. Nothing's been signed. It's sort of vaporware, to use a technology term. Trump needed a win, and he wants to pass it off as a deal and some talking points and say, we have an achievement here. Now, this is much bigger than the United Kingdom, and I think that this is maybe the most relevant aspect of this. This entire event that we've been looking at, that Trump did yesterday, the whole thing was meant to showcase a president pretending he's doing something as we have growing economic concerns all around him. It's sort of like the nothing to see here, please disperse scene from Naked Gun, where buildings are exploding, a fireworks factory is exploding in the background. And, as we saw earlier, Trump was asked, why'd you nominate someone for Surgeon General who didn't even finish her residency? And Trump goes, well, Bobby said she's great. And this is the level this White House is operating on. An idea of a framework of a deal requires an event to claim victory. The level of vetting that's happening is Bobby told me that she's really good. They also, we're not going to look at it, but they came to a question about American ports being at reduced capacity, not empty, but at reduced capacity thanks to the trade war, with imports being down. And Trump goes, oh, if we didn't trade with these countries, we would be better off. He's sort of like going fully into this isolationist turtle shell, bragging that no trade is better than importing affordable goods. Now, I'm the first to say we don't need a lot of this cheap Chinese crap that we get, right? It's sort of like the epitome of consumerism, but that's not really the foundation through which these deals are being analyzed and through which Trump is saying specialization and trade don't matter. So if you're wondering whether Trump understands how global corporations and trade work, he doesn't. And the numbers right now are Trump's approval at this point in the presidency, the lowest in 70 years for a president at about 110 or so days in. Economic approval in some polls, Republicans now less trusted than Democrats on the economy, not something you typically see. 70% of the country says Trump is not sufficiently focused on lowering prices. 72% of the country believes that this Trump tariff scheme and broader economic approach is going to cause a recession. And meanwhile, we had Q1 GDP down, the first economic contraction in the United States in something like 3+ years. So when a Scottish reporter steps up and calmly asks Trump, are you lying to the American people? The reporter calls it overstating. It's not just a viral clip. It's a journalist doing his job. This is what every single reporter should be doing every time Trump's opened his mouth. And when Trump says this is a maxed out deal, we all know there is nothing here. It's the economic equivalent of vaporware. And that is the best way that I can describe it. So let's take a break. We do have a new pope, not something I normally care about, but MAGA's reaction has been fascinatingly humiliating. We'll talk about that next. I am not exactly a wizard at building and fixing stuff around the house. I leave it to the pros. I recently moved, and the blinds in my new home office looked like they were from 2005. The room needed a little updating. So I went to 3-Day Blinds, the leading manufacturer of high-quality custom window treatments in the US. You don't need to leave home to shop for blinds. 3-Day Blinds has local, professionally trained design consultants with an average of more than 10 years of experience. They'll come to your home, they'll give you guidance, they'll tell you, here's what would work in this space. The quote is free with no obligation, and their expert team will then design, measure, and install everything. So you just sit back and relax. You don't have to do anything. I love the new window treatments that 3-Day Blinds got me for my office. It looks great. Schedule your free, no charge, no obligation consultation. You'll also get their buy one, get one 50% off deal on custom blinds, shades, shutters, and drapery when you go to 3dayblinds.com/Pacman. The link is in the description.